Okay, welcome back for this third video in this set from the third instructional sheet on building this prototype. This is some optional mechanics setting win conditions or exit conditions for your level. So what this means is the player can collide with the exit, but the exit will only operate and work if the player has met a criteria. For instance, collecting so many coins or collectibles or killing so many enemies. That's the way we're going to do it for this tutorial. You could, with a couple of tweaks, make it so that the exit is invisible until the player fulfills a couple of criteria. If you do it that way, which is easy to do, you just flip in visibility of the exit on or off, then you just need to make sure that your player is aware, and it needs to suit the level design, the size of the level. You don't want to be making a Mario level where they have to backtrack through the level in case they haven't met the criteria. You'll notice I've moved my exit slightly because the first one I'm going to do, which is dead easy and just requires a couple of extra, an extra bit of code really, is collecting 5 coins and then the exit will work. And so we have our exit here. I'm just going to get rid of that coin. We've got 5 coins between our exits there. And I might just get rid of those enemies. We'll put them back in later just to make this less complicated. So I'll show you what happens when we collect all 5 coins, and I'll show you what happens if we don't collect all 5 coins. So to get this working, all we need to do is add one little bit of code. So if we go to our event sheet and come down to on collision with the exit, go to the win screen. Well, we just need another condition. So at the moment, to go to the win screen, all the player has to do is hit the exit, collide with the exit. Let's add another condition so that now that we want the game to check whether they've collected enough collectibles. So we'll need to go. What we wanted to do is look at the global variable. So we'll need to go to System, click Next, and then we need it to compare whatever the collectible global variable is to whatever number we want the player to hit. So compare variable, next, collectible, and we want it to be greater or equal. So we're going to say 5. So the player has to collect at least 5 coins, but they can have more. That's why we've put greater or equal. If you just put equal to, then they have to have exactly 5, and that's a little bit more problematic. We don't want to limit the player like that, I don't think. So greater or equal, and click done, and that's it. We've now set a win condition because everything else was set up. So now if we click play and try that, so we've already got our collectible counter set up. So there's 2. Whoop. Okay, so I must have changed my jump speed, jump height. So let's just go down to player square there, and let's just put the jump strength back to 700, and let's try that again. Otherwise I can't get onto the next platform. There we go. 3, 4, 5. Now if I hit the exit, I should go to the win screen. Yeah, there we go. The title screens and everything is still going. Now, I want to show you something, and we can fix this now, unless you've already fixed it. But if I click Start now, so I'm still within the game, notice that I've got 5 coins still. And yet, all the coins have reset. And that's because we haven't got a parameter in to reset that. So if you're watching this video and doing your win screen conditions and we haven't fixed this yet, you might want to fix it. So go to Add Event, System. We want to reset those global variables at the start. So let's click on Start of Layout, click Next. So on the Start of Layout, add an action, again System, global variables, and reset global variables. And now whenever the layout restarts, so the level layout, not the game itself, but just the level layout restarts, it'll reset those global variables. So the collectibles collected. Okay, so let's try that again. And we'll just collect those 5 and hit that, and there we go. Let's restart and go to start, and you can see now it's at 0. Now let's try not collecting. So I've only got 2 coins now. Let's add a third. I've got 3 coins. If I hit the exit, you can see nothing happens. Now go behind the exit. We can fix that. Really, you should go in front. We'll fix that another time. Let's collect all 5, and there you go. So we know that condition works now. Okay, so that's all there is to collecting win condition. Let's do the enemy's win condition now. Okay, so to do the enemy win condition, we go back to our layout. Oh, where is it? There it is. I'm going to put a couple of enemies back in. My enemies are all working fine. So I'll put those there. I'm going to push my exit to back here. And let's take the enemy off there. Now, how many enemies do I have? 4. Okay, so I think we'll put it at 3 or more. And if we're going to make this a win condition, then we need to give the player a way of tracking how well they're doing and how many more they need to kill. So we'll need another UI element up here, just like the collectibles. So double click, go to sprite font, and let's call this enemies killed. UI and insert. Let's click off there. Again, it opens the sprite font. We can close that. Let's make that, well, my coins is in yellow. Let's make because it's a win condition, let's make the color green. Okay. And then enter text. And the text we're going to enter is basically how many enemies are killed. So enemies killed, and at the moment it's 0, to get an idea of how long that needs to be. And we'll put that. Now, one thing I didn't do, which I should have done, I didn't make sure that was on the UI layer, did I? And you can see it's not, it's on the action layer. In fact, we go over here, it's action, so we need to move that to UI, otherwise that won't work. Another little trick you can do is I want this lined up with this one here. Now, there are a couple of different ways of doing this, but the way I use is I'll click on coins, and I can see that this is in position 1110. So if I go over here, this is in 543, 10.74. So let's just tidy that up and let's make sure that's 10. Now that's perfectly in line with that one. And again, that all adds to the polish of the game, making it look a bit more professional. So that's there now, that's tracking it, or rather that's giving that information to the player. We go to the event sheet now. We need another global variable because we need a way for the game to track how many enemies are actually being killed, because at the moment it's not doing that. So let's right click and add a global variable, and let's call this enemies killed. It's a number, yes, it's 0, yes, and tracks the number of enemies killed by the player. And click OK. So now we have our global variable. Every time the player kills an enemy, we wanted to add one to there. So let's go down to the code where players kill the enemies. So it's this bit here. If the player's falling and they're above the enemy, destroy the enemy and make them bounce up. Let's add one to that. System, add to under global variables, and we want enemies killed 1. So, and we'll just put that in the middle. So it destroys the enemy, adds 1 to the enemies killed, and makes the player bounce up slightly. So now it's tracking that. And then lastly, for setting up this little system, we need to update the player. So we have this code here. Every tick, it updates the collectible set text. So whatever is in the collectible global variable, this one here, it updates that on the UI. We need to do a similar thing. And again, we can highlight this, Control and C and Control and V. And that'll add a copy there, and then we just go into here and change this. And we want to change this bit here, coins equals, to enemies killed equals. And remember to put a space after the equals, so that because anything within those inverted commas there will be shown in the UI. That's what it's going to put in your text box. And then after that, you want the ampersand, which is the and symbol. And if you start writing enemies killed, it's that one there with the globe. That's a global variable. Double click on that, and there we go. Click done. And now every tick, it's updating both of those UI elements. So the final thing then is the actual win condition itself. And it's very similar. So again, we can delete this and put it in again, but I'm just going to change this one. So double click on that one. Well, actually, no, I won't. In case you didn't do the collectible one, let's pretend that's not there. So go to right click, add another condition, system, and then it's checking compare global variable, or compare variable under the global local variables there. Click next, and the variable we want is enemies killed. We want greater or equal, and we'll say 3. So if the player has killed 3 or more of the enemies, then the exit will work. Okay, and let's check that. So first of all, let's check if it doesn't work. So let's try to get through without killing. So I've killed 1, that's fine. There we go. So I've only killed 1, but if you've noticed, it hasn't updated. So let's see what's going on there. That's a bit weird. So let's come back and let's check what we did. Enemies killed, ampersand, enemies killed. Yeah, no, that looks right. Is it adding 1? Add 1 when it's falling. Add 1 to the enemies killed. That's right. Every tick, update that. Okay, let's test that again. Let's see if it's the UI that's going wrong or the global variable itself, because I can't see what the problem is. So that's not updating. Okay, now if I kill this one, the exit should work now. Okay, so we know the global variable is working and the win condition is working. We have that win condition in here. Enemies killed 3 or more, go to win screen. So we know it's this. This is the problem. And I did a silly thing and I copied and pasted it, and it's updating the collectible. In fact, did you notice that on the video? And I was so obsessed with checking if it worked, I didn't notice. Yes, so I can see now. It's updating. Well, it's not moving it, is it? Because it's not big enough. We haven't made the text box big enough, but it's updated that. And that's where we've gone wrong. So let's double click on that. If we go back, and we click on enemies killed UI, and then next, and done. Now that will work. Very easy to make mistakes when you're doing all this, and that's why testing is so important. And you just go back through your instructions and go back through what you did and double check everything. And there's a good demonstration of why copying and pasting there can lead you down into making mistakes. Sometimes it's better just to put the code in from scratch because you don't make those mistakes. Let's just check the win condition doesn't let the player through if they haven't killed 3. So I've killed 1, and there you go. It's not letting me through. But if I kill 3. There we go. And let's just make sure that it's resetting the global variables. And yeah, there we go. Okay, so there we go. We've added 2 separate win conditions. You can make it so that they are, you can have both of those on, slightly more advanced, but you can do an or, another condition in here and make one or the other. And that way the player has a choice. Have a play around with that if you want. Otherwise, any questions, any problems, don't forget you can message me on Teams. Okay, so that completes everything that you need to know about building our 2D platformer prototype. Have fun experimenting with some of the ideas. And for the testing lesson that I've told you about, make sure that your prototype is ready to go and ready to be play tested and ready to be put on itch. Okay, thank you very much.